I'm going to call her Ventriloquism Sweetheart. You know her, you love her. Let me tell you something about her. Lori Bruner is a performer for schools, churches, assisted living facilities, and at VentFest recently in Indiana, where she headlined there. Amazing person. She also regularly acts in a dinner detective show. Pretty cool. I've done that before, playing the dead body. Ladies and gentlemen, Lori Bruner, here she is, everybody.
All right, yeah. Woo!
Well, it is an honor to be here with you all tonight. In this day and age of pronouns, I thought I would let you know that I was born a female. I've always identified as a female until COVID. And since COVID, I've started identifying as trans-slender. Yeah. You see, when COVID hit and quarantine hit, I started baking bread and making ice cream, and before long, even my buttons were social distancing. Yeah. My friend Trish, she told me, she said, well, Lori, crunches are good for your abs, and yeah, I found out that my favorite is Nestle. Well, how many of you all have kids and grandkids? Yeah. Well, my husband and I, we have 5 children and we have 4 grandchildren. And recently, we went to one of our grandchild's kindergarten graduation. And she was so excited to be graduating. And my grandchildren, they call me boss. And so after the ceremony, she runs up to me and she's like, boss, I did it. And I was like, I'm so proud of you. And she said, it only took me 1 year. And I was like, well, of course. And she said, but boss, my teacher said she's been in kindergarten for 15 years. Well, several years ago, when one of our daughters was about 8 years old, she desperately wanted to go to work with her daddy. And we said, no, you can't go. Well, finally the day came. In America, we have this program called Take Your Child to Work Day. And so the day came and she was going to get to go to work with Daddy, and she gets up early that morning. She was so excited, and she puts on her clothes and she goes to work with him. Well, my husband's sitting in his office, and she starts walking around and looking in all the offices, and she starts looking and taking everything in. Well, she starts back towards my husband's office and she starts crying. Well, all of the staff started gathering around, and my husband hears her crying, and he walks out and he said, like, honey, what's wrong? She said, Daddy, where are all the clowns you said you worked with? Yeah. Well, I got to tell you a story about myself. Several years ago, I'd gone to the beach with some of my adult children and my new son-in-law. Well, my son-in-law had created this game, and it's a board game, and whatever square you land on, you have to do the dare. And so I landed on a square that said I had to dance. So I got up and I thought, well, I'm going to make a fool out of myself, just like I'm doing tonight, And everybody said, all my kids were saying, Mom, do the floss, do the floss. Well, I didn't know what the floss was at that time. I was like, yeah, I know how to start the lawnmower, right? I know how to do the sprinkler. I know how to stir the mashed potatoes, but I had no idea how to do the floss. So you know what I did? I pulled that string out, wrapped it around my finger, and I just started flossing. Yeah, y'all don't ask me to dance in the hospitality suite. Well, anyway. If you know me, you know I love to hear stories about when people use words incorrectly. And we all do it, whether it's a slip of the tongue, or we do it on purpose to be funny, or sometimes we just don't know any better. But years ago, I worked with this woman whose daughter had just had a baby, and she came back to work and she was telling me about it. She says, and they had to seduce labor. And in my crazy mind, I'm just picturing that doctor saying, ooh, Come on, baby. Yes, my father-in-law is notorious for these word mishaps. And a few years ago, he had a colonoscopy. And a couple of days later, I call him up and I'm like, hey, Pops, how'd it go? Well, they had to remove a scallop. And then there's this one time, a few years ago, it was at a church social. This woman who was getting ready for the church social, she had lost her husband several months prior. Well, her husband had quite the collection of cummerbunds. And so she was getting everything ready, and it was about to start. She says, okay, everybody, can I have your attention? I just wanted to let you know that if you're interested, I've decided to sell all of my husband's concubines. Yep, that's a true story. Well, I know you all came here to see some ventriloquism, and I am going to introduce you to my first guest. He is my buddy, Ernest Lee Smart.
I am Ernest Lee Smart, PhD.
PhD, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfectly handsome dude.
Oh, yes, you are.
You know, I got my hair cut yesterday.
It looks very nice, I might add.
You know they have an express chair at the barber?
I had no idea.
12 hairs or less.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, you know, Professor, you were telling me when you were young you used to have long hair.
That's right. Nowadays, I'm just longing for hair.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, you were telling me when you were young, you and your buddies would go get a keg.
That's right, we'd get a keg. Now that's a K-E-G.
Well, yeah, of course.
Nowadays, me and my buddies are going for an EKG.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, you were telling me how when you were young, you were hoping for a BMW.
Yeah, nowadays I'm just hoping for a DM.
Oh, goodness. Well, Professor, I know you told me that you and your wife are getting ready to have an anniversary.
That's right, 35 years.
That's quite the accomplishment these days. What are you going to do for your anniversary?
Well, I haven't decided yet.
Well, what'd you do last year?
I took her to California.
That's quite nice. So you haven't decided what you're going to do yet?
Well, I thought I might go back and get her.
Oh, goodness. You know, I know that's not true because you were just telling me a story about how you and your wife went to the mall last week.
That's right. I decided to sneak into Macy's and get her a little something special.
Oh, that's nice. With your anniversary coming up, would you get her like jewelry, perfume?
No, I decided to get her a new bra.
A new bra? How can you buy a bra for somebody? I mean, they come in so many different shapes and styles and sizes and colors. I have a hard enough time buying one for myself.
Well, the clerk at Macy's was helpful.
I'm glad to hear that.
She said basically there's 3 types of bras.
3 types of bras?
There's the Catholic bra, the Salvation Army bra, and the Baptist bra.
Did she explain the difference?
She said the Catholic bra supports the masses. The Salvation Army bra lifts the fallen.
What's that Baptist bra do?
It makes mountains out of molehills.
Oh, goodness. Professor, you know, my husband and I, we've been married about 18 years.
Well, you know what he has to say about that?
No, what?
He said being married is like a deck of cards.
How's that?
You start out with 2 hearts and a diamond.
Oh, how sweet.
And before long, you wish you had a club and a spade.
All right, we'll talk more about that later. That's Ernest. All right. Well, my next guest, whether you are a church-going person or not, you might relate to some of the stories she's going to tell. She is my friend, Lena Lockett.
Now, before I get started, I have a couple of announcements to make.
Miss Lena, what?
Now, where did I put my list? Is this it? In my pocket?
Yes.
I didn't put it there.
Well, here it is.
Oh, please silence your cell phone. If we hear your cell phone ring, you have to donate $5 to the What the heck?
Miss Lena, I've been trying to tell you.
I was wondering what Vinny was doing back there with his hands in my pocket.
Miss Lena, we're at the Ventriloquist convention.
What the heck? You know, ever since my husband died, I've been in charge of the Wednesday night prayer meeting.
Well, we are at the Ventriloquist convention.
We're just going to talk about the Holy Spirit tonight.
Well, welcome to the 2023 Ventriloquist convention.
And my name is Lena Lockett. Now, the Holy Spirit, you can't knock it. Now, I thought I could prove that I felt the Spirit move, but it was Vinny with his hands in my pocket.
Oh, Miss Lena.
Oh, Vinny. Vinny. Then get your butt up here and ask you something. Oh, Vinny. You sure are looking fine tonight. You like my perfume?
It's fresh felt. I like that.
What are you doing later tonight? Stud muffin?
My wife.
Well, curl buckets. I gotta knock him off the list.
Miss Lena.
Now let's see. Ooh, look at him. He got blue eyes. You know I like blue eyes.
Yes, you've told me that before.
Ooh, look. He got a nice smile.
Yes,
You know I like a nice smile.
I think we all do.
Ooh, I don't think he's from Kentucky.
How would you know that?
He got all his teeth.
Miss Lena, are you talking about my friend Ron?
You know him?
Yes, and I happen to know he's got his eye on someone else.
Well, crud buckets.
Miss Lena,
Now let's see. I think I need someone tall, dark, and handsome.
whatever floats your boat.
Now where's that Frank Logan you've been telling me about?
Oh, now, Miss Lena, you go from talking about the Holy Spirit to being quite flirtatious.
Well, don't you think a woman my age have needs?
What?
Lord of mercy, she ain't got a clue.
Now, Miss Lena, I just thought we could talk about something different.
Well, I can tell you a story about what happened at church last spring.
Now, Miss Lena, you're not going to be gossiping again, are you?
Heavens, no. Far be it for me to talk about anyone, but as I recall, it was a Sunday morning last April, and 3 of Miss Johnson's kids snuck a rabbit in the church.
A rabbit?
Yeah, you know, a hippity-hoppity, long-eared Lord of mercy, you can't take her nowhere.
Miss Lena,
Well, anyway, the preacher was well into his sermon, and I see that rabbit a hippity-hopping across the front of the stage.
oh no.
Oh yeah, those kids was screaming, somebody stop that rabbit.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, that preacher, he came down from the pulpit, tripped over the rabbit, fell into the communion tray. I tell you what, girl, there was no one asleep after that.
Not.
Unlike your show.
Miss Lena. What happened next?
Well, you know, I felt sorry for Miss Johnson. She's so busy taking care of the other 4 children. You know, she's embarrassed.
I'm sure she was.
You know, that no good husband of hers should have been at church with her.
Now, Miss Lena, you should not be talking about someone else's husband.
Oh, I know you're right.
Now, how would you know that?
I seen him one night all cozying up to some woman at Trixie's Tavern.
Miss Lena, what were you doing at Trixie's Tavern?
Oh, now, as I recall, it was a chilly night, and I was on my way home from prayer meeting.
Yes.
Well, I thought, you know, these bones could use a little warming up, and I thought a little nip or something might hit the spot. And that's when I saw Mr. Johnson and that woman, disgusting as it was.
Now, Miss Lena, you really surprised me. You're talking about people. You went to Trixie's Tavern, and you never told me what happened with the rabbit. Did anybody catch it?
Oh, sure enough, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I took it home. Yeah. And it was delicious. You know, we're supposed to have choir practice tonight after church.
Well, that's not going to happen, Miss Lena.
Well, you know, there's a young woman in the choir. She can't be more than 30. She requested prayer for the man at Home Depot.
What was wrong with the man at Home Depot?
She said he couldn't understand.
What, you mean he couldn't hear?
No, he couldn't understand.
Well, so what was wrong?
Well, now you know me. Far be it for me to talk about anyone. But turns out last year she purchased some of those energy efficient windows.
Yes.
Well, the man at Home Depot called up and said she hadn't paid for them yet.
Oh, no.
She say, just because I'm blonde don't mean I'm stupid.
Well, of course not.
You know what she told him?
No, what?
She say,
What'd she say?
She say, now you know me, I'm not one to talk about anyone. She told the man that the sales guy told her the windows would pay for themselves in a year. Duh, it's been a year.
Oh, my goodness. Miss Lena.
Oh yeah, then there's Justin.
Now, who's Justin?
Oh, he a young man at church, he was telling me they're taking his girlfriend out on a date.
Oh, what'd they do?
Well, he took her out to eat. Yes. Well, turns out she's on a plant-based diet.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are into that these days.
Well, they sitting there eating, and she say, you know, these hamburgers are good. What plant are they made from? You know what he told her?
I have no idea.
He say, they come from a meatpacking plant.
Oh, my goodness. Miss Lena.
Yeah, he ain't got a clue. Just like you.
What? Why do you keep saying I don't have a clue?
Oh, I heard you talking.
What'd I say?
Where do I even start?
Now, what'd I say?
Well, you remember a couple of years ago when your husband had hemorrhoid surgery?
Yes.
You know what she's going around telling everyone? Now, you know me. I'm not one to talk about anyone. But you know what she's telling everyone? She say he had his asteroids taken out. Lord mercy. And she still ain't got a clue.
Now, Miss Lena, you were talking about me, you're talking about everybody. I mean, how would you like it if people were talking about you?
Oh, I know they do.
How do you know?
I've seen it on social media.
You are on social media?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Oh my goodness, I sure hope you're not putting any of these gossiping stories out there.
Well, you know what I say.
What?
My name is Lena Lockett. You talk about me, and I'll block it. But I can talk about you till my face turns blue. And I might go so far as to TikTok it.
All right, that's Lena.